Annika, we began this morning with news of those threats that MPs were receiving in the form of text and email. Have they been able to identify where they originate from and what is contained in those messages?
Yes, Kathy, an email was read out which purported to be from Paul O'Sullivan and his company, I think it's called Forensics for Justice, in which he asked the chairperson to please submit all the details of MPs hearing this committee and drafting this report, and those who've been intimately involved in the process after the High Court in North Gauteng asked them to either uphold or reject the decision made by Minister Bheki Cele. It said that most of the MPs' input was not going to be lawful, and that they were a bunch of crooks, or something to that regard. It was not very. It was not very kindly worded. So MPs objected, and they said that they felt that this was an act of intimidation, it was a threat, and that it was actually an abuse against the Institute of Parliament itself. You know, there was a lot of upset about it from MPs. The DA has boycotted today's sitting of the committee. They say that they were not given a chance to give proper input, and that the MPs behaved in a manner that was not becoming of Parliament, and that the entire drafting of the report was a sham. But I do have with me ANC MP Leonard Ramatlakane, who was very involved and very vociferously against the reappointment or the extension of Robert McBride as the IPID head. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Ramatlakane. Why were you so against Robert McBride's extension of his contract?
Well, just to explain, I was not against that. We had a long process of discussion as the entire committee, inclusive of the DA. It's very news for us to hear that they were not allowed to make input. They had participated throughout. Only today they said they are having a caucus as an explanation for not coming. Little did we know that was a boycott. I leave that.
They've confirmed to me that they have boycotted, and the words they used, they've rejected all proposals. Diane Kohler-Barnard says she was told to shut up, that repeated discredited accusations were made, and their absence does not make it a full multi-party vote. Just keeping you in the loop, but move on.
I'm not going to deal with Kohler-Barnard. This process was live, was recorded live. When she walked out of the committee, she just simply walked out of the committee. It's a debate, it's a discussion. She wanted only her views to be heard. It doesn't work like that. Mbele left. She remains in the committee throughout until the end. We were surprised. The committee was given information that there's an apology because it's a caucus today, and we accepted that. So let me leave that aside.
Sure.
Let me come back to the issue about the main issue.
The recommendations.
Yes. The ANC support the recommendation that the contract of the executive director of IPID, it should not be renewed for another term. That's what the committee today has in fact agreed. All of the members that were in this committee have accepted that recommendation. And the reasons became evident as we were going through all the discussion on the last, from Monday until yesterday. It became evident when you look at the relationship. The relationship between the IPID head and, of course, the minister is broken down. There's no relationship, there's no trust, there's no working together. That goes against the service delivery that need to be performed by the IPID. Let me just say to you while we are on that point, IPID is one of government department as contained in the IPID Act. It means that the law says the executive director of IPID must report to the Minister of Police. Must, it says, uses the words must, not may, That's the breakdown of relationship means that there is no reporting that goes to the minister. And therefore, there's no oversight in terms of the work of the IPID. Secondly, the issues that we looked at, a range of issues on the volume documents that we received of submission from the executive director as well as the minister, the reasons why the minister says he could not. Reasons are numerous, a lot of reasons. One of it is that security clearance doesn't exist, doesn't have a valid security clearance, doesn't, in fact, for the last period of 5 years, there hasn't been a performance evaluation or performance agreement. As a result of evaluation of whether the work is done and appropriately is not done. There are numerous directives that has come from the Department of Public Service and Administration on correcting that what is wrong has not been implemented. And who is the executive director that has answered the ball? Stop with the executive director. Therefore, and that taking everything, all the relevant document that was submitted, including what is called the abuse of power. You know, the thing about what the Public Service Commission finding is damning on the executive director. It says that there was a complete abuse of power, there was an harassment, there was a violation of the Act, there was a violation of the Harassment Act, there was a violation of the Constitution 33(1) in what that unilateral decision that was taken by the IPID executive in removing a lady who is head of vetting that unit without any engagement and simply saying we are at war with crime intelligence, she must move. And stripping her, even the security clearance, which was not the responsibility of the IPID, which is the responsibility of another department, all of which is part of the minister's submission on what the minister says there are problems here and therefore I'm unable to say we can then even start a discussion about the renewal process of a new contract.
This report now, Mr. Ramatlakane, goes straight to the North Gauteng High Court, I presume, where the parties are waiting.
Well, this report is, first of all, is a Parliament report. It goes to Parliament. The Parliament is in session. The report will go to Parliament. It will be accepted, adopted by Parliament, and it becomes a resolution of Parliament. Of course, the people who wants to take the report on the review, that's another matter. That's another matter which is outside of my scope of comment. Then the Parliament will then deal with that at the appropriate time.
Very last question, and a quick one. What happens with the allegations of intimidation and what some MPs referred to as threats from the letter received from Paul O'Sullivan earlier today?
Well, we have, if you know, the committee has taken a resolution and have rejected that, and the committee concluded that what the writer of that email has done has never done before. It's an attack on the institution by an individual. It's an intimidation. It's threatening of members on all sorts of things. So we have reported the matter to the Speaker. And of course, obviously, the next logical conclusion is going to be there has to be a case, as a criminal case, that's probably going to be looming that will wait for the direction from the Speaker. As you know, if he runs the company, security company, he runs that under the CIRA Act. There's an obligation that must be adhered to by a security company. We will also bring this to attention of CIRA, for CIRA to be able to talk to them to find out what is this that they're going to do. This means that Paul O'Sullivan says he is going to investigate members. What does it mean? It means he says he wants to access data, do all kinds of things, do all kinds of surveillance. Is that legal? Parliament has been, as a committee of Parliament, this was referred to the committee in terms of the rule, in terms of the Act for us to do. This is also the problem with the Constitution. This is direct attack to the Constitution. All members that are here are elected members of Parliament who are in fact entrusted by the Constitution. This is what we're saying is a problematic, and of course the Speaker will have to deal with that aspect.
Mr. Ramatlakane, ANC MP, who sits on the Portfolio Commission of Police, they're speaking to us on the reasons why they upheld Police Minister Bheki Cele's decision not to extend the contract of Robert McBride. This report, or this decision by this committee that was asked for by the North Gauteng High Court, will now go to those parties in Pretoria who are waiting for the input. But I don't think it'll end there, Kathy. I very much suspect that Robert McBride will take, once confirmed by a judge, will take the matter on review. And there's also, of course, the Helen Suzman Foundation, who's gone to the Constitutional Court asking for any decision on this to be held in limbo, if you like, or in a holding pattern until there's some sort of clarity on the IPID Act on what happens when a term is extended or not.
Well, one certainly wonders whether or not the submissions then that are being made by the DA, Annika, in relation to this parliamentary report would form part of an argument by McBride should he continue to fight then to keep his job. Thanks for that update. Annika Larson is out in Parliament for us.